I see. Well, hello, chaps and chappets. Game Chap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows. And I dare say we are now discussing here the top 5 impossible gaming achievements in Nintendo games, you know.
We most certainly are, and specifically Mario, Zelda, and more.
That's quite right, Elway. These are things that you just cannot do or accomplish in these games under normal circumstances. Sometimes you may be able to use cheat devices to do them, and we'll be discussing that too. Now, firstly, we start here at number 5 on our list with the impossible defeating Bowser at the start of Paper Mario 64.
Right, okay, so Paper Mario 64 defeating Bowser. Well, why can't he be defeated then?
Well, in Paper Mario, of course, Bowser invades Princess Peach's castle, surprisingly, and lifts it off the ground. Now, Mario has a showdown with Bowser, does he not?
He most certainly does, yes indeed.
Yes, but unfortunately this time, Bowser cannot be defeated due to his use of an item known as the Star Rod to become invincible. Because the Star Rod is supposed to be able to grant wishes, you'll see, and he wishes to become invincible so Mario can't beat him.
Well,
now, at that point in the game, Mario does not have the Peach Beam, which is required to disable Bowser's Star Rod power, and therefore Mario cannot win.
Right,
it's
okay.
impossible.
Okay, so basically what we've got here then is we've got, Bowser's holding the Star Rod.
Yes.
Mario doesn't have at that point in the game the Peach Beam.
That's right.
Which could, defeat the Star Rod
Which
or
would
whatever.
disable that, right.
So now Mario's snookered.
He's
in trouble.
Firmly in trouble. And of course, even if you use a cheat device to damage or even kill Bowser, the game will freeze, meaning you can't progress beyond that point. Mario is simply hard-coded to die there for story reasons. It's a fight you just can't win.
Mario's hard cut. It's impossible to defeat Bowser at the beginning of that game.
He has to die, our poor plumber hero.
I mean, you think, well, Mario, he can live. He sort of comes through it, but not that one. He won't.
Not that particular
It's
fight.
impossible.
For that fight, he has to die and gets sent floating down to Earth in a very tragic manner. But of course, there's still hope for him in the game. But that particular fight, you won't be walking away from unscathed. It's impossible, you know. Yes. Next up here, number 4 on the list, we have a certain infamous NES title. Can you name it for us, Bertie, old chap?
Yes. Now this is one of the more ones. Still a Nintendo game. Cheetah-Men.
Cheetah-Men, specifically
Cheetah-Men 2.
Cheetah-Men 2, the sequel to Cheetah-Men.
On the NES.
Now, this was a partly completed game for the NES and was initially thought to be cancelled. However, some 1,500 copies of the game were found in a warehouse and sold, meaning the game became publicly available.
Hang on, is this one of those things where they sort of, someone finds them in a dusty corner of a warehouse?
Exactly.
Oi, mate, found 1,500 of these copies. Get them on eBay, quick. It's cool, not bad, mate. Oh, that's a good idea, mate. I'll do that now.
I think
it's that sort of thing, is it?
I don't think eBay existed back then, but yes,
Did it really? Never mind.
It's that kind of thing. Now,
Okay.
due to a game-breaking bug in Cheetah-Men 2, it is not possible to progress beyond one of the game's bosses. Even if you defeat this particular boss, the screen doesn't change and you're stuck there forever. This means you can never play as the third Cheetah Man in the game.
So you can never play as him at all because of this problem. Now, what about if you have cheats or something like that in it?
I'm glad you asked, because you see, with cheats or modifications, you actually can play and beat the full game. Because, you see, this boss error was of course due to a coding error, perhaps because of the game's unfinished status and unreleased status, but if you use various cheats and other tricks of the trade, as it were, you can actually access the remainder of the levels that do exist in the game. You just can't access them normally due to the error.
Okay, so if you are one of those people who've got one of the 1,500 copies then, you can play it away, but it just stops all there.
That's
when
right.
When you get to that point, you can't go any further.
That's right.
So it's impossible to beat.
Now, please note, I don't know why you'd want to play the game, because it's absolutely horrible, but all the same, it is an impossible gaming achievement under normal circumstances.
Yes.
There we are. Now, of course, we go next to point number 3 on our list, and we're getting just really impossible now, I have to say. You cannot ever beat the running man in the running race in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Right, okay, so Ocarina of Time, everyone, or most people must be familiar with that. The running man in the race.
That's right, the running man's race.
Is he not defeatable? You have said he's impossible to defeat.
Well, let's just get this straight here. This is quite an interesting one, because this is an example of a challenge that Nintendo purposefully coded to be impossible. You cannot do it, full stop.
Right.
Okay, the running man is raced as adult Link from the Gerudo Valley Carpenter's Tent to the bridge outside Kokiri Village.
Okay.
He will always win by 1 second, exactly 1 second. No matter how fast your time is, he'll always beat you by 1 second. And what's more, you can never beat him even with cheat devices, because even if you do somehow beat him with those cheat devices, he has no lines in the game to say that he was beaten.
So if you sort of try a shortcut, one of these sort of speed run dumb things that they do. Jump over a hill or something like that.
No,
try
no,
and
no,
glitch.
no.
Whatever happens, whatever you do then, it just sort of knows and says, yeah, okay, you shaved another few seconds off that, but still, here's a second less, haha, I won.
Exactly.
Sort of thing.
No, even if you were like Sonic the Hedgehog or something and was super fast, got to go fast, straight there, he will still beat you. Have you seen how fast the running man runs whilst wearing the bunny hood, old boy? He's lightning fast, it's no wonder.
With the bunny hood. Okay, so why did they do that, though? Why put it in and you can't beat him?
I don't know, because he challenges you to a race from that tent, and of course you can accept the challenge, but you can never beat him. And you may say, what's the point of that? But I think it's just in the game as a sort of, a philosophical observation on life, old boy. Some things you just can't win. Well, perhaps, I'm not sure. But there you are.
Well, it's rubbish. If you have enough spinach, you can beat him, can't you, sort of thing?
He's not Popeye the Sailor Man, old chap.
Well, I'm just saying,
My word. Anyway, you can't beat the running man, even with cheat devices, so
It's
just
impossible
forget
to
it,
beat him.
okay?
Okay, so that's rather good.
What's the next one, Bertie? Number 2 on our list.
Now, okay, this is rather fun, because this is in Super Mario Maker.
Super Mario Maker.
It most certainly is. Now, it is impossible to get all the world records in Super Mario Maker.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. In Super Mario Maker, as you know, you can get a world record on a given stage.
Yeah.
But due to the huge number of levels, both on the system and also currently being uploaded each day, there would not be enough hours in the day for you to physically beat them all and get the world record on every one.
Have you tried?
Don't be absurd, old chap. There's millions of levels, old boy.
Maybe someone out there, they've been thinking that they don't really know what to do. They say, this game chat video, it's done it for me. I will beat that. I will show them that it can be done. And they'll spend from here until another 15 years trying to do it.
You'd have to spend I don't know how many years. In fact, I'm going to use my calculator. Okay, fellow, stand
What
by.
calculator?
I have a calculator right here. Let's say there's 6 million levels. Okay, I'm just
6
going to
million?
put 6 million.
They can hear that's happening. It's for real, man.
Of course, and multiply that by an average completion time of 2 minutes. Okay, just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Divided by 60 for hours, that's divided by 24, it would take you 8,333 days.
8,300 divided by 365.
That's 22 years!
20 years. My goodness.
So, you
22
get the
years.
idea, you can't do it. Unless you have 22 years to spare, of course.
Yes, but what say if we want to be really funny and say, you can do it really, because you can do it in 22 years. If anyone says that, say, yeah, go ahead and prove it, and then we'll say yes.
Oh no, but you can't, you see, because in 22 years' time, it's very likely the servers will no longer exist for Mario Maker.
Yes,
So,
but
there
what's
you are.
at the end of 22 years, there was another load of games also made, so you have to go back and do those as well. So it's now 22 years, then you get into 44, then it just goes on forever.
Exactly, so let's just get this straight. Whilst you're playing those games, levels for 22 years, more levels are being made and added to the system.
Exactly.
So therefore, I think you'd have to spend probably an entire lifetime in order to achieve this particular goal. But I will say this, it may be possible some years in the future, if the game became far less active than it is right now, it may be possible for a community effort, a huge community push, to complete all the levels and get the world records. But I have to say, just one person by himself would not have enough hours in the day to beat them all alone.
Okay, so that's all the world records in Super Mario Make It Impossible. We've got to beat the running man as well. He can't be beaten.
That's
beat
right.
the Cheetah 2, no, can't do that. And defeating Bowser at the start of Paper Mario, no, impossible. So what do we have next?
Number 1 on our list, and this is the big one, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot ever obtain the Triforce in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Well, okay, now hang on. When you said that, I sort of thought, well, hang on, wait a minute, because isn't that what it's all about, sort of collecting the bits of the triangle?
Getting the Triforce, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
And the bits of the Triforce thing. And you said, but then you're saying that you can't do it in Ocarina of Time.
You can get the Triforce in Link to the Past on SNES, but you can't get the Triforce in Ocarina of Time, so just forget it. This was actually a popular rumour in the early days of the game, with many people claiming you could obtain the Triforce by a series of crazy steps, like throwing a bomb in the middle of the lava near Ganon's castle, etc., and so forth. All of the rumours are fake, and the Triforce cannot be obtained in the game ever. Now, if you press the pause menu in the game and you go to look at your status and your items inventory, etc., and so forth, you can see little pictures of the Triforce on the screen there, which I think perhaps helped to fuel the rumours, because people might have thought to themselves, well, surely I can fill those Triforce marks in and get the Triforce.
Aha! So, yes, well, that's a very good point, actually. I mean, if they've got it in the game, people think, well, there it is, so it must be gettable, and I feel it should be gettable, surely.
Really, I think it should be gettable, and it does certainly lead you to believe you might be able to obtain it, but Nintendo themselves have confirmed that those Triforce-shaped symbols in the menu screens are just for decoration, and you cannot fill them in with the Triforce.
Well, hang on, that's sort of like having one of those cornflake packet things where there's a little plastic toy in front of it, in it, and when you open it, it's not there.
Or it is there, but it's locked inside a safe and you can't access it.
Oh, yes, okay, that's getting a bit complicated now, I suppose so, yes.
The cornflake packet could be very heavy, though.
How safe getting the cornflake packet, though?
Oh, don't bother with such trivial things.
Just one, I suppose.
One interesting thing, actually, about this game is there is a Triforce-shaped screen transition in the game, and I mean like a screen fade that cuts from one scene to the other. It actually shows the Triforce appearing and fading in and out, and the Triforce itself does also appear in the game during cutscenes. Okay, so maybe it was originally planned to be obtainable. You see, you could have had, I don't know, Link obtaining the Triforce with this Triforce-shaped transition, but in the final version of the game, you can't get it ever. So just stop asking, forget it, it's over.
So that's absolutely impossible to get the Triforce in the Ocarina of Time there. As you said just rather interestingly, perhaps they had planned at some time to get it, and maybe they thought, oh no, we're not going to do it now. And so they sort of said, oh, just don't say anything, you just can't get it, sort of thing.
That's right. And of course, in games where Link and Zelda do acquire the Triforce, they often use it to do things like repair the Kingdom of Hyrule, etc. and so forth. And really, I think they did need to repair the kingdom in Ocarina of Time. It got quite well smashed up, you know. Ganondorf did quite a number, didn't he?
So these are sort of impossible achievements that it's impossible to do.
These are impossible gaming achievements, ladies and gentlemen. You can't beat Bowser, he's invincible at the start of Paper Mario 64. You can't beat Cheetah Man 2, it's bugged on the NES. You can't beat the Running Man because he uses cheese strats, old boy. He's too fast, I say.
Yes,
he teleports there, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he knows in advance, yes.
You can't get all the world records because you don't have enough hours in the day for Super Mario Maker, and you cannot obtain the legendary Triforce in the Ocarina of Time.
Well, I think somebody's going to try the whole lot and try and do it now, probably.
You'll see if you can prove us wrong.
Yes.
Yes, I'm almost tempted to offer a money reward, but I shouldn't do that because I like my money, so I shan't do that.
Oh, my word.
Anyway, there we are, videos. The top 5 impossible gaming achievements. Thank you most kindly.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you once more on the next exciting, my word. Until then.